Hello everyone, and this is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling for May 2nd, 2013. And I'll go off and say just right off the get-go, I felt that this week's Impact was just okay. And I think they did a decent enough build-up for next week's show with the six-man tag and the #1 contendership towards the tag team titles. I feel like they did a really good job of setting those up. I like the Bully Ray and the Aces and Eights segments in the backstage. Those were really good. The promo between Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, Kazarian, and Daniels was also extremely good. But just for the most part, it felt like it wasn't. Outside of that, it just felt like a ho-hum show to me in that sense. I mean, the in-ring action was actually really good. And that's just typical of TNA, but I typically rate the show differently because the in-ring action is actually usually really good in that sense. The Sting, Matt Morgan, Hulk Hogan segment at the beginning of the show was alright. The match between Sting and Matt Morgan for the #1 contendership towards Bully Ray's world title was actually a really good match. And in there, the Knockouts tag match was also a decent match as well. So, just all in all, it felt like the normal show in some way, shape, or form. It didn't feel like it was anything special in that sense. But they definitely did some good spots in there. The X Division triple threat match to see who would be the next one in there. Obviously, it went to Chris Sabin with his with him returning from the knee injury. You would figure they would put him over right away. I'm gonna go off and say it here now. I don't like the new camera. Putting the camera on top of the referee's head and then cutting into it from time to time just seems to really take me out of the match. The matches themselves are really good. Just that camera angle does not seem to work for me at all. I watched it through last week, didn't really like it. I wanted to give it another week before I even said anything about it. And seeing it again this week, it really doesn't seem to be panning out for me. I mean, it just seems like you could be cutting to it at one wrong time and you'll be missing something at some point in time. I just don't like where they're going with that new X Division cam, or basically just the camera on the top of the referee's head. I kind of hope they don't deal with it too terribly long, but I have a feeling it's going to be around for a while, so I'm just going to end up having to deal with it in that sense. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not a big fan of that new camera angle that they're trying to present during the X Division matches. With the Sting Matt Morgan match, like I said before, it was actually a really good match. But it was the obvious choice that they went with. They, of course, weren't going to try to do... they weren't going to have Matt Morgan go up against Bully Ray because they haven't presented Matt Morgan as a face in any way, shape, or form. They wanted to go for that face versus heel, the more iconic legend versus the leader of Aces and Eights at this point. Of course, also the world champion. Sting ended up being the obvious choice for the actual victor of that match, and hopefully, they'll do a good build-up going into Slammiversary, and then it should be an actually really good match between Bully Ray and Sting as well. All in all, like I said at the beginning of the show, all in all, it just felt like a normal show. It didn't feel like it was anything special. I felt like they did do a few things decently building into the next week with the matches with the #1 contendership to the tag titles and the six-man match with Aces and Eights, Kurt Angle in there, Kurt Angle and eventually having a mystery partner, which they're trying to get to be AJ Styles. We'll see where they go with that as well. Definitely some stuff to look forward to for next week's show. So. Yeah, that's my review this week for TNA Impact Wrestling. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.